Okay, welcome to Wednesday. Go ahead and get out your homework. All right, so we had a worksheet. It was on solving equations, but this time we had both positive and negative numbers to deal with. Here are all the answers for 1 through 20. Go ahead and check your work against the answers and then answer question number 1 in the Google Forms. How many you got wrong? Okay. Okay, so this is what the calendar looks like. We're in our last week of new material, just 2 classes, today and Friday. And then next week we'll do review, and you will also start your finals. Next week on Friday, you will take one final, just one, your English test. We'll take a 3-day weekend, and then that third week there, it'll be Tuesday through Friday. Last week of school, you'll take your science, Latin, math, and then your history finals. Okay, and by the way, just mention it again. That's one final a day. So student advisement teachers will send you a attendance link and then the link to your final for that day. So it should be a pretty easy week. Suggestion for studying for your finals, obviously, since you only have one final a day, you have plenty of time to study. Next week when I give you your 2 reviews, make sure you don't lose that material. That's what you'll use to study for your math final. I personally would recommend you look a little bit at it each and every night. That way you're not cramming for your final on that Wednesday night for math. All right, tonight's homework, another worksheet. It is on the bottom of the Google Forms. And we're going to continue with solving equations. So here we go. Remember, we have done solving equations, and you already did one before. Remember, for algebra, there are 3 key ideas when you solve an algebraic equation. The 3 key ideas are you're always trying to get the variable by itself. In other words, you're isolating the variable. When the variable has been isolated or is on one side of the equation all by its lonesome, then on the other side is the answer. That's how you know you're done. Key idea number 2 is, well, you need to isolate the variable. That means you need to do something mathematically. And the key idea of an algebra, to balance the equation, whatever you do to one side, you must do the other side, and that keeps it balanced. And lastly, well, how do you get rid of things? You do inverse operations, right? To get rid of something, you do the inverse of it, and that gets rid of it. All right, visually, remember our main goal is to get x all by itself. So when x is by itself, what's on the other side, where that question mark there, is the answer. So how do you do all this? Well, there's 4 easy steps. No matter how tough or how many steps there are in solving the actual equation, there are only 4 basic steps. All right, if that made sense. Remember, it's 3 questions and a statement. So you always ask yourself, and you should be doing this when you're solving equations, is the variable by itself? If the answer is yes, you're done. If it's not, there are things attached to it. So you ask yourself, well, what's attached? What numbers are attached to the variable on that side, left side or right side? How they are attached, that's what will give you the key for doing the inverse. So if it's attached by addition, you do subtraction. If it's attached by multiplication, division, so forth and so on. All right, last class we had equations that look like this. We identify what side the variable is on. It's on the right side. Is the variable by itself? No, there's a 10 over there. How is it attached, right? How is the 10 attached to x? It's attached by addition. So what's the inverse of adding 10? The inverse of adding 10 is to subtract 10. So we subtract 10 from both sides. We've done this before. Remember, the difference for this particular section is that our answers deal with negative numbers, and in this case, we got on the left side, we have 4 minus 10. Do you see the 4 minus 10? On the right side, it says 10 minus 10, that's 0. 4 minus 10, well, those are not same signs. Those are different or opposite signs. So we subtract big minus small. 10 minus 4 is 6. And remember, more negatives, more positives. We have more negatives, so we get negative 6. Therefore, the answer is x is equal to negative 6. Notice that middle step there where I wrote negative 6 is equal to 0 plus x. That's just to show you what is going on. You are perfectly fine and skipping that step. Also, notice I said the answer was x is equal to negative 6. It is customary to say variable equals a number. But notice that first one I wrote there in yellow, negative 6 equals x, is a perfectly fine and viable answer. You can say that as well. All right, we've been doing 1-step equations. Today, we're doing 2-step equations. All right, so what changes when we do a 2-step equation? This is called a 2-step equation because what side is the variable on, left or right? So on the left side, how many numbers are attached on the left side to n? There are two numbers, 3 and 6. That is why it's called a two. You can't get rid of two numbers at once. You can only get rid of one number at a time. That's why it's called a two-step equation, because it's going to take us 2 steps. All right. So remember, get the variable by itself is always the prime goal for this. So we have two choices here. We can either get rid of the 3 or we can get rid of the 6. The 3 is attached to n through multiplication, 3 times n. The 6 is attached to the n by subtraction. So we have a choice here. We can either get rid of multiplication first or subtraction. Right? Please write this down. I will always tell you, get rid of addition or subtraction before multiplication or division. Get rid, and this is almost always true. Next year I will show you, won't see it this year. Next year I will show you the one time when this is not true. Okay? But always get rid of addition or subtraction before you get rid of multiplication or division. So how does this work? So same equation. Once again, I can either get rid of the 3 or the 6. I'm going to choose to get rid of addition subtraction first. So how is 6 attached to n? It's attached by subtraction. So what's the inverse of subtraction? Addition. So how do we get rid of minus 6? Right? Negative 6. We add 6 to both sides. 6 minus 6 is 0. 15 plus 6 is 21. Notice I'm skipping that step with the 0 now. All right, are we done? No, because n isn't by itself. N is still attached to 3 by multiplication. So how do you get rid of that 3? It's attached by multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division. So we divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So technically that turns into 1n, or 1 times n. 1 times anything is itself, so we will get into the habit of not writing 1n, and we will just write n. On the other side, 21 divided by 3 is equal to 7. Notice that slash there. That slash I put through the 2 3's. In math, we call that, when you're getting rid of something through division or multiplication, that is called canceling when the value goes away. It's a misnomer because it doesn't go away. That slash represents the number 1. 1 times n is n. Yes, we are efficient in math, or lazy, whichever word you want to choose. We just choose not to write 1n. But trust me, there is a 1 right there attached to n. 1n equals 7, or n equal to 7. 1n is equal to 7. All right, I have not exposed you to this next thing, and this only is for 2 or more steps. There is a way of checking algebra problems to see if you got the right answer. It's called a check step. Now we claim that n is equal to 7. We can do a check step to see if this is true. This is not required, right? But if you're ever curious of, hey, did I really get the right answer? You can do what's called a check step. A check step is where you take the original equation, 3n minus 6 equals 15, and you take what you claim to be the answer. We're claiming that 7 is the correct value for n, and you throw 7 back in. See what I did there? I just replaced n with 7, and we see if it's true. Well, 3 times, we got to follow PEMDAS, so 3 times 7, multiplication before subtraction. 3 times 7 is 21, and 21 minus 6 is in fact 15. So check, that's why it's called check step. Check that's true. Now, do you have to do a check step? No. But if you're ever curious, hey, did I get the right answer? You can always do a check step. Okay, let's do another one. So once again, two-step equation. How do I know it's two-step equation? Because there's 2 numbers I need to get rid of, 5 and 2. I don't need to get rid of the 18. It's all there by itself. It's not on the side with the p. All right, so I'm trying to get the variable p all by itself. So I can get rid of the 5 or the 2. I'm going to choose to get rid of the 2 because it's attached by subtraction. So the key here is always get rid of addition or subtraction first before you get rid of multiplication or division. It's not a requirement, right? I'll show you later why this is true. It's the easiest way to do this. All right, so let's see. How do we get rid of subtract 2? We add 2, not to one side, but to both sides. 2 minus 2 is 0. 18 plus 2 is 20. How is the 5 attached to p? It's attached by multiplication. How do we get rid of multiplication? We use division. So we divide both sides by p. The 5's cancel. It's not that they turn to 0, right? 0 times p would be 0. They turn to 1. That red line represents 1. 1 times p is p. 20 divided by 5 is 4, so p equals 4. Okay? All right, let's try one together. All right, 4x plus 6 equals 34. 4x plus 6 equals 34. All right, my suggestion is always get rid of addition subtraction first. So we're going to get rid of the 6. Why? Because it's attached by addition, and it's on the side of the equation with the variable, with the x. I'm trying to get rid of that 4 and the 6. So we can either get rid of the 4 first or the 6 first. So we're going to get rid of the 6 first. That's the recommendation. So how do you get rid of plus 6? You subtract 6 from both sides. 34 minus 6 is 28. Notice I skipped saying 6 minus 6 is 0. How's the 4 attached to x? It's attached by multiplication. How do you get rid of multiplication? Division. Divide both sides by 4. The 4's cancel. 1 times x is x. And 28 divided by 4 is 7. X equals 7. You guys are getting really good at this. All right, more practice. All right, don't get hung up that I've put the variable always on the left side. It could be on the right side. So be able to, be flexible with that. All right, so 3x minus 5 equals 10. We need to get rid of the 3 and the 5. Let's get rid of the addition subtraction first. So subtraction, I'm going to get rid of the 5 first. How do you get rid of minus 5? Well, you add 5. 10 plus 5 is 15. How do we get rid of the 3? It's attached by multiplication. So we divide both sides by 3. The 3's cancel. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Hey, we haven't done one with negatives. Let's do one with negatives. Right? Don't panic. The 3 is not attached to the x by subtraction. It's attached by multiplication. That's negative 3 times x plus 2 equals 14. So we need to get rid of the negative 3 and the 2. Right? Let's get rid of addition subtraction first. You're like, well, minus 3 is subtraction. Let's get rid of that first. No, that minus 3 is attached to x through multiplication. What's between the 3 and the x? It's multiplication symbol, right? Even though it's not there. So we're going to get rid of the 2 first, right? How do we get rid of plus 2? Subtract 2 from both sides. 14 minus 2 is 12. Now what do we need to get rid of? If you said 3, you're wrong. I'm trying to get rid of negative 3. That's a negative 3. So I need to get rid of negative 3 first. So, not first, but I need to get rid of negative 3. How do you get rid of negative 3? Well, how is it attached to x? It's attached to x through multiplication. We get rid of it through division. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 cancels. Now be careful on the right side. 12 divided by negative 3. What's a positive divided by a negative? Positive divided, remember opposite signs. Positive divided by a negative is a negative, so we get x equals negative 4. Look at that carefully. Make sure you understand why the answer is x is equal to negative 4. We okay? All right, for those of you who need to hear all that again, let's go back about 3 examples, play that again. For the rest of us, here are 2. Go ahead and try these 2. Pause. Type in your answers into the Google form, question number 2, and then play the video and see if you got it right. How'd you do? All right, the one on the left there. First thing I'm going to do is add 18 to both sides. Why? Because that's the side that the variable's on, the left side. I need to get rid of the 5 and the 18. I get rid of addition subtraction first. Get rid of subtract 18 by adding 18. 12 and 18 is 30. Get rid of the 5 through not multiplication. It's attached by multiplication. Get rid of it by division. 5 divided by 5 cancels or turns into 1. 1 times n is n. And 30 divided by 5 is 6, so n equals 6. How many people got that one right? Okay, good. All right, next one. Remember, that's not a minus 3. That's negative 3x plus 6 equals 9. Okay? All right, so negative 3 is attached to x through multiplication. 6 is attached through addition. Let's get rid of addition first. So to get rid of the plus 6, we subtract 6 from both sides. 9 minus 6 is 3. How is the negative 3 attached to x? It's not attached by subtraction. It's attached through multiplication. It's attached through multiplication. All right. So how do you get rid of multiplication? You get rid of it through division. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 cancels. You can think of this. What's a negative divided by a negative? A positive. Positive 1. 1 times x is x. 3 divided by negative 3. What's a positive divided by a negative? A negative. So x equals negative 1. We okay? All right, your book calls these special case ones. These are not special case. These are just regular two-step equations. All right, so these are the more challenging ones. All right, here we go. Find the variable. Where is it, left or right? It's on the left side. What's attached to it? I got a 2 and I got a minus 13 I need to get rid of. Okay, so we're going to get rid of addition subtraction first. So let's get rid of addition subtraction first. Well, clearly the 13 is being subtracted from b over 2, so let's get rid of that first. So how do you get rid of minus 13? You add 13 to both sides. 2 plus 13 is 15. Why am I skipping the 13 minus 13? Right? Well, we're getting rid of it. The reason why we added 13 to both sides is for the fact to get rid of that 13. All right? Would not be wrong to write b over 2 plus 0 equals 15 either. All right, we got to get rid of that 2. How's that 2 attached to b? Well, that 2 is attached to b through division, right? So we need to get rid of division. How do you get rid of division? Multiplication, that's the inverse. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2. Why did I write 2 over 1? Well, remember, b over 2 is a fraction, so we're going to multiply a fraction with a fraction. Okay. On the other side, remember, I'm just multiplying by 2, so I'm going to write 2. Does that make sense? All right, 2 divided by 2 cancels, and you're left with b over 1. b divided by 1 is just 1. And 15 times 2 is 30. There we go. 30 is what we're claiming is the answer. Is there a way to check this? Remember the check step? Well, let's see if it actually works. Let's see if throwing 30 in, we're claiming that's the answer. Let's do our check step and let's see if it works. Once again, this is not a necessary procedure, but it's a good procedure if you have time. All right, let's see if 30 works. So I'm going to take that equation and plug in 30 for b. See what I did there? I just made b 30. Let's see if it works. Well, we got to use PEMDAS. What's 30 divided by 2? Because you got to do division before you do subtraction. 30 divided by 2 is 15, and yes, 15 minus 13 is in fact 2. So the left side equals the right side. Check. That one is true. Let's do another one. Okay, so let's see. T divided by 4 minus 10 equals negative 6. All right, what side's the variable on? Left side. What's attached to it? 4 and 10. 4 is attached by division, 10 by subtraction, so let's get rid of subtraction first. So get rid of subtract 10, we add 10 to both sides. Be careful, we've got opposite signs there, a 10 and a negative 6. All right, so opposite signs, we subtract, big minus small, 10 minus 6 is 4. More positives, more negatives, more positives, so we get 4. All right, now let's get rid of the 4 on the left side. How is that 4 on the left side attached to t? It's attached through division. How do you get rid of division? Multiplication. I'm multiplying by 4 over 1 because t over 4 is a fraction, so I'm multiplying with a fraction. And on the other side, I can just multiply by 4. That's fine. All right, 4 divided by 4. That literally says 4 divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. All right, so we get 1t over 1, which is just plain old t. And 4 times 4 is 16. Makes sense? Okay, let's try one together. Ooh, x over negative 6 plus 4 equals negative 8. Lots of negatives here, but don't panic. All right, we're going to get rid of the negative 6 or the positive 4. What do you think? That's right. Get rid of the addition subtraction first. So let's get rid of that plus 4 first. Get rid of plus 4 by subtracting 4. Be careful. On the right side, that says negative 8 minus 4. Same signs. Same sign means add. Right? 8 plus 4 is 12, but we're adding negatives. So get negative 12. Pause the video if you need to think that one over. All right, I still need to get rid of that negative 6. How is that negative 6 attached to x? It's attached to division, so let's do some multiplication. Once again, I made it as a fraction on the left side because it's a fraction. On the right side, I don't need it as a fraction. What's negative 6 divided by negative? Any number divided by itself is 1. 1 times x is x. Technically on this one you get 1x over 1, but 1x over 1, 1 times x is x divided by 1 is still x. On the other side, be careful, that doesn't say negative 12 minus 6. That says negative 12 times negative 6. Okay, what's a negative times a negative? Positive, and 12 times 6 is 72. We good? All right, that was pretty challenging one there. All right, let's do another one. All right, here we go. Well, let's see. X over 5 minus 7 equals 1. So we need to get rid of the 5 or the 7. We're going to get rid of the subtraction first. How do you get rid of subtraction? Addition. 1 plus 7 is 8. How do you get rid of that 5? It's attached by division, so we do multiplication. I'm getting lazy here, not writing 5 over 1. Just be careful where you put that 5. If you put that 5 on the bottom next to 5, that says 5 times 5, which is 25. I am really multiplying by 5 over 1 here. All right, on the other side, we have to multiply by 5. The 5's cancel. This is how generally most people do this problem. You just got to be really careful that that 5 that you're multiplying by goes next to the x, not to the 5. 8 times 5 is 40. Hey, there you go. All right, you got 2. If you need more help, rewind, watch a couple of those examples. If not, try these 2. Pause the video and then answer question 3 on the Google Forms. You think you got both right? All right, let's see. The one on the left there, let's get rid of the 6 first. Add 6, so we're going to subtract 6. 12 minus 6 is 6. Get rid of that 3. 3 is attached to a by division, so we're going to multiply both sides by 3. Once again, I'm lazy here. I don't write 3 over 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. It cancels. 6 times 3 is 18, so a equals 18. We good? Okay, on the other one, x over negative 4 minus 4 equals negative 10. So everything's negative here. Congratulations. Let's do one where everything's negative to start with. All right, so how do we get rid of the minus 4? Well, we add 4 to both sides. Be careful, negative 10 plus 4. Those are different signs. Remember, different signs, you subtract big minus small. 10 minus 4 is 6. More negatives or more positives? Oh, yeah, we got way more negatives, negative 10 and a positive 4. So we get negative 6. The rest, let's see. Get rid of the negative 4. It's attached through division. We need to multiply both sides by negative 4. The negative 4's cancel. What's a negative times a negative? Positive. 6 times 4 is 24. Hey, we started off with nothing but negatives, and we wound up with a positive answer. Okay. All right. Let's just do 2 more, and we'll call it a day. So these are just a reminder of the previous ones. So 2 more. Go ahead and try these 2. These are challenging. They're a little bit tricky. Oh, and then answer the next question on the Google Forms. All right, most people are likely to make a mistake on these. These are a bit more challenging. So the one there on the left, minus 3 minus 2x equals negative 11. So negative 3 minus 2x equals negative 11. Remember, I'm going to use the words negative and minus interchangeably from now on. Negative 3 minus 2x equals negative 11. All right, so we need to get rid of that 3 first. It's attached through addition, so we're going to add 3 to both sides. I'm going to, oops, I forgot to put the plus 3 there. So negative 3 plus 11, opposite signs or different signs. That means subtract big minus small. 11 minus 3 is 8. More negatives, more positives. Got more negatives, so negative 8. See where the negative 8 comes from? All right, how do we get rid of that negative 2 there? It's attached through multiplication, so we divide both sides by negative 2. Negative 2's cancel. What's a negative divided by a negative? Positive. 8 divided by 4 is 2. I said 8 divided by 4. I meant 8 divided by 2 is 4. Oh, long day. All right, last one. This is the one I usually always see kids make mistakes on. They see that minus sign between the 8 and the 2, and they think to get rid of the 8, you need to add 8. Well, think about it. If you add 8 to 8, you get 16. The 8 didn't go away, and that's because the sign of all numbers is to the left. Look to the left of the 22. What's there? Nothing, so it's positive. Look to the left of the 2. What's there? Negative, so it's negative. Look to the left of the 8. What's there? Nothing. That means 8 is positive. So if 8 is positive, how do you get rid of a positive 8? You subtract 8 from both sides. Look at that one really carefully. That's the one that's going to trip you up. Okay, 9 times out of 10, when students make a mistake here, they add 8 to both. I understand why. They see that negative 2x right there and think that 8 is attached to x through subtraction. It's not. It's attached through addition, right? Because 8 is positive. All right, 22 minus 8 is 14. All right, and finally get rid of that negative 2 there. It's attached through multiplication, so we divide both sides by negative 2. Right? Those negative 2's cancel. On the other side, a positive divided by a negative is a negative. So we get x equals negative 7. Feeling confident? All right. Use this class as a template for how to do the homework. Some of you are raring to go. Some of you may need to watch the video 1 or 2 times to get a hold of this or a hang of this. As always, you can email me for help or a quick tutoring session. I'd love to give you guys some help if needed. If not, then do your homework. All right. Bottom of the Google Forms. There's your homework. Good luck, and I'll see you guys on Friday.